Now here is an example, a sample into Arabic, from English into Arabic, which I will discuss in details in Arabic. How to translate it, what are the elements. But before I start translating it, I need to be able to analyze the text, to know what's the text about, to know also that the authorities that I talked about in the previous section, previous video, how you need to be aware of them, and also which country are you talking about. Here is an example, this is a quotation which I've taken from European Voice in 16th November 2006 on page 14. Now it is important to see in this example some of the authorities that I mentioned earlier in the previous video. One of the authorities, which is an executive authority, is the Vice Chancellor or a Chancellor, a German Chancellor, for example, Gerhard Schröder. Now, this person is the head of state. We have to know the Chancellor of Germany is an executive authority, and he is the head of the state in the sense of it deals with foreign matters and defense, along with some of the ministers from the executive or the government, in consultation with. Now, of course, now we know now one authority, which is the Chancellor, German Chancellor. That is the head of state who represents that country. So it's a Chancellor. It's not, when you say Chancellor in another country, it may not be the head of the state. But here it is the head of the state, but he's former, i.e. a previous head of state. Now, in this report, let's read it. Former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder gives an interview to Le Figaro. Asked by the French paper if blah blah blah, Schröder answers absolument. Oh wait, perhaps he doesn't really speak French. It's not just in the energy sector where it is obvious, he says, presumably in Germany. Blah blah, as for the rest, what would be the alternative? It's up to us to respond positively. Now, there are quite a few little, let's say, information, knowledge that you need to be aware of. Apart from the fact that it's a German Chancellor, Gerald, we know that it is Le Figaro. Le Figaro is a newspaper, and it's a French. Now, of course, Le Figaro is the media. This is the fourth estate, or Sulta Raba, fourth authority in Arabic, which has no authority in terms of, as in influencing the country in the formal sense. Now, Le Figaro is the newspaper. So it's an interview by Le Figaro, which is a French newspaper. So it's representing the French talking about the French authority. However, we're talking about the European group or states, and these states, all these countries, European countries, one of them is the French, and this is a French newspaper from France, obviously, interviewing a foreign dignitary, a VIP, who is the German Chancellor, former German Chancellor. So it's a French newspaper interviewing a German personality, political personality. So here we need to assume here that Schroeder is speaking in German and the newspaper writes in French. But then this report, which is by the European Voice, is written in English. So you have 3 different languages. Also, we look at the words that are written here. You've got the word Schroeder written in German. Absolument is written in French. And the text itself is in English. Yet it is a report about Le Figaro, which is a French newspaper. So let's translate. Former German Chancellor into Arabic. We call this position المستشارة أو المستشار الألماني السابق. هو former يعني السابق. There are الأسبق والسابق. هناك فرق بين الأسبق والسابق. السابق means the immediately before. الأسبق maybe not immediately before. إذن former يعني just only the last one. السابق جيرارد شرودر المستشار الألماني السابق. We know Gerard is male, not female. We need to be aware if it's male or female as a name, because in the target language Arabic, we don't know if Gerard is a male or a female. So we need to check the word. المستشار الألماني السابق جيرالد شرودر يجري مقابلة. So the word gives an interview, which is a collocation. The word gives, or to give an interview, is the word give collocates with the word interview. أجرى مقابلة مع أو يعني أعطى مقابلة مع أو جريدة لو فيغارو، الجريدة الفرنسية أو الصحيفة الفرنسية. we can say جريدة أو صحيفة. الصحيفة الفرنسية لو فيغارو أجرت لقاء مقابلة مع المستشار الألماني السابق جيرالد شرودر. نقاط. وردا على سؤال طرحته الصحيفة الفرنسية. طبعا if we say الجريدة بالأول لازم نقول جريدة مرة ثانية. إذن وردا على سؤال وجهته الصحيفة الفرنسية. احنا بنعرف من هي الصحيفة الفرنسية اللي هي لو فيغارو. يعني لو فيغارو و the French paper are the same thing. It's what's called co-referencing. يعني لو فيغارو والصحيفة الفرنسية ولو فيغارو are the same. The French paper and لو فيغارو are the same. So as a translator, we need to know that. We should not think that it is 2 different newspapers. إذن وردا على سؤال طرحته الصحيفة أو وجهته الصحيفة الفرنسية فيما إذا كذا 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 كذا، أجاب شرودر absolument. يعني كلمة فرنسية معناها تماما، مؤكد أو تماما، يعني absolutely بالإنجليزي، لكن مكتوبة بالفرنسي هنا absolutement. إذن maybe Schroeder has said it in French، يعني قالها بالفرنسية. قالها بالفرنسية مؤكد أو تماما، لكن قالها بالفرنسية. إذن ممكن أن نضع بين قوسين مربعين نطقها بالفرنسية، يعني تماما نطقها بالفرنسية. ثم نغلق هذا الاستشهاد منها، الاقتباس منه. Oh wait, perhaps he doesn't really speak French. هنا, here we have spoken English. Oh wait, as if the reporter is trying to make us a little bit more closer to them. That's why he's addressing us in a spoken English. Oh wait, perhaps he doesn't really speak French. Doesn't also, it means it's spoken English, not written English. So there's a difference between the two different registers, between the first line يعني الأسلوب في اللغة أو الكتابة المكتوبة هنا في البداية تكون رسمية. It's formal at the beginning. And then later on it's spoken. So it has moved from formal to informal. We need to be aware of that. لحظة يا جماعة، لعله لا يتكلم الفرنسية حقا. طيب هو لا يتكلم الفرنسية وهو لا يتكلم الإنجليزية حتى. يعني we need to know that he doesn't even speak English, بس the report is written in English. فإذا لحظة يا جماعة وانتظروا يا جماعة، لعله لا يتكلم الفرنسية حقا. ثم أردف قائلا, then he says, it's not just in the energy sector where it is obvious. ليست المسألة فقط في قطاع الطاقة حيث أنها واضحة لنا. هذا ما يقوله presumably in Germany, presumably in German. لعله يقول ذلك باللغة الألمانية. لعله يقول ذلك باللغة الألمانية. As for the rest, what would be the alternative? It's up to us to respond positively. أما بالنسبة للبقية فما هو البديل؟ هذا يرجع إلينا في الإجابة عنه بصورة إيجابية. طبعا we or us here maybe he's saying about the Germans or maybe he's saying about the Europeans. نحن لازم نعرف إذا كان عم يحكي بكلمة نحن هل يقصد بها الأوروبيين، نحن الأوروبيين، أو نحن الألمان. ولعله استخدم كلمة الفرنسية absolument ربما من باب أنه يشير إلى أنه يفهم الفرنسية، لعله يريد أن يبدي أنه يعرف الفرنسية لهذه الصحيفة الفرنسية. فإذا لاحظنا هنا we have noticed أنه في الترجمة يجب أن نعرف الكثير عن النص قبل أن نترجم النص، نفهم معلومات عنه، نفهم بعض المصطلحات فيه energy sector، نفهم عن أنه يتحدث مثلا هنا من بلد لآخر، يعني صحيفة فرنسية تتحدث إلى شخص في منصب في ألمانيا مثلا هنا كما هو الحال هنا، يعني في بلد آخر أجنبي على اللغة على الصحيفة الفرنسية. يعني طبعا الصحيفة الفرنسية سوف تنشر هذا الخبر. The French newspaper is going to spread this piece of news to the French reader. And of course, it's going to use the word absolument as being a French word he said, maybe indicating that he knows a little bit of French to tell the French reader. But he's addressing the French readers at the end of the day. So the German chancellor, maybe he's speaking in French, speaking in German, and then the French Le Figaro, الصحيفة ترجمت, translated his interview and then put it in there. And then we have another media, which is European Voice, which is another press, another entity in the media, which has translated both what the Chancellor has said from German and what may be the Le Figaro in French, or maybe just take it from Le Figaro بالفرنسية. يعني المشكلة الآن أن طبعا هذا التقرير, this report, is taking parts of the interview, يأخذ بعض جوانب المقابلة، يعني باعتباره عم يأخذ بعض جوانب المقابلة، فلا نتوقع أنه تكون المقابلة هنا مرتبة بطريقة يعني كما وردت في المقابلة، إنما كما ترى لو فيغارو أو كما ترى European Voice كصحيفة أو مجلة أو دورية، إن كانت على الويب سايت أو كانت على المطبوعة أو كانت مقروءة في الإعلام المقروء يعني على الراديو أو مرئية على التلفزيون. فإذا هذا المثال الذي this example, by the way, which I have brought from this particular source, indicates that, and actually I am quoting it from another book by Schaffner and Bassnett. هذا الكوتيشن، هذا المقطع الصغير، لاحظنا كيف أنه يعني ترى فيه كمترجم أن هناك بعض العناصر والعوامل التي يجب أن تعرف بها، المعلومات اللي there is some information which you need to know about Le Figaro, about the Chancellor, about the French language, about the German language, about the English language, because it's reported into English. Thank you.